Yeah, this is just the first step in a very long process, but it is an incredibly important step. So the Commission has analyzed this actually in record time. No country has ever gone from the application to the granting of, or the recommendation of candidate status as fast as this. So this is with unprecedented speed, but there's still a lot ahead. This is, of course, only a recommendation. The decision has to be taken by the 27 prime ministers and presidents of the EU. They will be meeting here at a summit in Brussels next week. Now, the chances of them granting that next week went way up yesterday when we saw the presidents of France and the chancellor of Germany both endorsing Ukraine's candidate status. They were doing so alongside the prime minister of Italy. Italy had already endorsed that idea, but France and Germany hadn't yet. So the fact that they've given that endorsement really means this is probably inevitable at this point. However, there are some Western European smaller countries that still have some pretty major reservations about this. And so we'll see if they don't overcome that by next week. They probably won't even put this to a vote. Their concern is that this is being rushed through for political reasons, and they don't want to see candidate status being used as a tool for geopolitics in order to send signals when it's not really about the country's chances of joining the EU. A lot of people feel that the EU was badly burned by the experience of granting Turkey candidate status over 2 decades ago. That was done largely at the urging of Washington and London, trying to keep Turkey on side with the West. That, of course, didn't work, and there is really no prospect of Turkey ever joining the EU now. But they're still left with this kind of zombie candidate status that was given for geopolitical reasons, and now they can't end because the backlash, because of fear over the backlash. So they want to make sure that isn't happening again here. They need reassurances that Ukraine really does have a chance. And there are concerns that this assessment by the Commission was rushed through. There were rumors that EU officials were actually filling out the questionnaires that were meant to be filled out by Ukrainian government officials. So this is going to be a robust conversation next week. And then after that, it'll be many, many years of analyzing this.
So as you say, Dave, there are fears that some elements of this process are being rushed through. I mean, if we talk about the candidate status, Ursula von der Leyen today has been clear there are conditions. This does not come, you know, as you click your fingers. There are concerns about tackling corruption. There are concerns about human rights. Just walk us through some of those improvements that the EU wants to see before we can move forward with this.
Yeah, essentially, if the leaders next week grant Ukraine candidate status, they will ask for, it'll be conditional, essentially. They will ask for certain reforms and certain efforts to be carried out before they'll actually start accession negotiations. Now, that's normal. That's not specifically for Ukraine and Moldova. That's also been the case for other accession countries. For instance, Albania and North Macedonia have been granted candidate status, but they haven't had their accession talks start because they haven't met those hurdles, those conditions for reforms that are needed before that happens. And I've been told in no uncertain terms today, talking to people in town, there is really no way that these accession talks could begin until the war is over. That's condition number one. The other conditions that President von der Leyen outlined today in her press conference were mostly concerning the rule of law, corruption. President Zelensky has been quite open about the fact that Ukraine does have a corruption problem that they're really trying to tackle. And the other conditions are economic. President von der Leyen said that Ukraine is on its way to being a full market economy, but it's not quite there yet. And the concern with the economics, I think this is often lost sight of, even if the war wasn't happening, if Ukraine were to suddenly overnight join the European Union, its economy would collapse. It would suddenly be in the single market. You really need years of preparation to be able to prepare a country for that. They need to get up to being a fully fledged free market economy. And Ukraine, she said today, has done a lot of work on that. She noted that their level of deficit is quite low at 2%, public debt at 50%. So she was sounding very positive about Ukraine's economic conditions today.
All right, Dave Keating, keeping us up to date from Brussels. Thank you, Dave.